Welcome back to the Shigeki Podcast. I'm Dr. Mark Hyman, and today I'm joined by a true legend of healthy aging, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, the Japanese physician who lived and served others well into his 100s. In this episode, we're diving into something that sounds simple but might be silently sabotaging your health: hydration. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt tired, lightheaded, or foggy, even though you drink plenty of water every day? You might assume you're staying hydrated. But what if the way you're drinking water is actually doing more harm than good? Here's the shocking truth. Millions of people, especially seniors, are suffering from chronic intracellular dehydration. That means your cells aren't absorbing and holding on to water properly. You're not just low on fluids. You're lacking what truly moves water into the cell's electrolyte balance. And without that, you may experience low blood pressure, poor circulation, fatigue, and even kidney stress, all while thinking you're doing the right thing by drinking more.
In Eastern medicine, we often say, water is life. But water taken the wrong way can be a slow-acting poison. It's not just about how much water you drink. It's about whether that water is usable by your body. And that depends heavily on natural minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium being present in the right balance. Today, we're going to explore the science and wisdom behind proper hydration. You'll learn why plain water isn't always enough, what makes natural salt so essential, and how small changes in your hydration habits can restore energy, support your heart, and improve mental clarity.
So, if you've ever felt frustrated that you're drinking enough water but still don't feel great, this episode is for you. Stick with us because by the end, you'll know how to turn every glass of water into a healing force for your body. If this topic resonates with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Shigeki Podcast. There's so much more ahead.
To be talking, the human body is more than just flesh and bone. It is in fact an electrical system, one that runs on invisible currents powered by minerals called electrolytes. Every heartbeat, every nerve impulse, every muscle contraction is the result of tiny electrical signals passing through your cells. But here's what most people overlook: for those signals to travel correctly, your body needs a precise balance of certain elements. There are 4 non-negotiable essentials for human survival: oxygen, glucose, water, and electrolytes. Without oxygen, your brain cells begin to die in minutes. Without glucose, your body loses fuel. Without water, organs start to shut down. But here's the twist: that without electrolytes, none of the other 3 can function properly. That's because electrolytes, particularly sodium and potassium, create the electrical gradients that allow your heart to beat, your lungs to expand, and your brain to think clearly. And yet, in the name of healthy living, millions of people are told to drink plain water in excess without ever addressing the body's electrolyte needs. The result: chronic low energy, faintness when standing, muscle cramps, or even brain fog. These aren't always signs of aging. Often they're signs of cellular dehydration caused by electrolyte imbalance.
Let's break down the 2 stars of this hydration equation: sodium and potassium. Sodium, or natrium as we call it in medical terms, is the mineral responsible for holding water inside your blood vessels. It helps maintain blood pressure, supports fluid circulation, and ensures nerve signals are transmitted effectively. This is why when someone has very low sodium, they may feel dizzy, confused, or even collapse. Sodium keeps water where it's needed most inside the system. Now, on the flip side, we have potassium, or Kali. If sodium manages water outside the cells, potassium governs what happens inside them. Potassium allows your heart to maintain a stable rhythm. It supports muscular function and prevents twitching or cramping. When potassium is too low, you may experience irregular heartbeat, muscle weakness, or constipation. But here's the real danger. When you drink only filtered water or purified bottled water all day, without any mineral content, you're flushing sodium and potassium out of your system. This disrupts the balance your body works so hard to maintain. This sodium-potassium relationship is like a seesaw. Too much one way or the other, and things begin to break. For example, drinking too much plain water dilutes sodium, leading to hyponatremia, low blood sodium. Your body will then try to compensate by shifting water out of your blood and into your cells, which can lead to swelling, especially in the brain. On the other hand, not enough potassium can leave you feeling weak with unstable blood pressure and erratic energy levels.
This is especially critical for seniors. As we age, our kidneys lose some efficiency. That means it's easier to become dehydrated or mineral deficient without even noticing. You may think you're being healthy by drinking 2 liters of water a day, but if your body can't hold on to that water, if it can't pull it into your cells, you're essentially pouring it in and flushing it right back out. That's why in traditional Eastern practices, we don't just think about drinking water, but about how the body uses it. Water is not helpful unless it penetrates the cells, and for that to happen, the balance of sodium and potassium must be intact.
So, remember that the next time you feel tired, your heart flutters, or your legs cramp at night, it might not be age or stress or lack of sleep. It could be something as basic and fixable as the wrong kind of hydration. Water alone is not enough. Your cells need minerals to bring water to life. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the kind of salt that supports this process and the difference between refined table salt and natural mineral salts that can truly hydrate your body from the inside out. Stay with us.
When most people hear the word salt, they immediately think of something dangerous, something to be avoided. For decades, conventional wisdom has told us that salt raises blood pressure, stiffens arteries, and increases our risk of heart disease. But here's the truth that's been buried under decades of dietary dogma: not all salt is the same. In fact, the kind of salt you use might be the difference between vibrant cellular hydration and chronic internal drought. Let's talk about table salt, the white salt you see on most dining tables and in processed foods. Chemically, it's pure sodium chloride, just 2 elements, but in its original form, natural sea salt contains over 80 trace minerals. What happens before it reaches your shaker? It's refined, bleached, stripped of its minerals, and often heated at high temperatures. Up to 90 essential minerals are removed, and in some countries, anti-caking agents or even sugar derivatives are added to prevent clumping. What you're left with is a harsh, isolated compound that can dehydrate cells and potentially contribute to elevated blood pressure by making your tissues retain water outside the cells.
Now, contrast that with Celtic salt, a mineral-rich sea salt harvested by hand in clay ponds along the coast of France. Unlike table salt, it's grayish in color, slightly moist to the touch, and brimming with life-sustaining minerals. In fact, Celtic salt contains up to 82 trace minerals, including magnesium, calcium, potassium, and zinc, each of which plays a critical role in the body's electrical and hydration systems. Similarly, Himalayan pink salt, though slightly less rich in magnesium than Celtic, contains around 75 different minerals and is often used in cooking or soaking practices for its gentle grounding properties.
But it's not just about mineral count. What makes Celtic salt especially powerful is the type of magnesium it carries: magnesium chloride, magnesium bromide, and magnesium sulfate. These forms of magnesium are what we call water-hungry molecules. They attract and hold onto water inside your cells. Here's how it works. When you place a tiny crystal of Celtic salt, about the size of a sesame seed, on your tongue and then drink water, the magnesium activates. It opens up pathways in your cells, like little doorways that allow water to move from your bloodstream into your tissues where it's needed most. This is a cellular hydration technique, not just superficial water intake.
In traditional Western medicine, we always say, it's not what you consume, it's what you absorb that brings healing. Simply guzzling liters of water won't hydrate your cells if the minerals that regulate water movement are missing. That's why many older adults who drink plenty of water still suffer from dry skin, low blood pressure, and fatigue. They're drinking, but they're not hydrating. By contrast, mineral salts like Celtic salt work with your body. The magnesium pulls water into your cells, balances fluid pressure and activates hundreds of enzymatic reactions related to detoxification, muscle function, and even brain clarity. It's a gentle process, not forced like table salt's aggressive sodium overload, which can cause cells to swell or shrivel depending on the imbalance.
One more thing that doesn't fear salt indiscriminately. Yes, if you're eating bags of salty chips and processed meats, that's harmful sodium. But if you're adding a tiny pinch of mineral salt to your hydration routine, you're supporting life at the cellular level. The key is quality and quantity. So next time you feel thirsty, don't just reach for more water. Ask yourself, do I have the minerals to actually use this water? A single sesame-sized crystal of Celtic salt, followed by a glass of clean water, might be the most powerful and natural rehydration tool you've ever tried. In the next section, we'll guide you step by step on how to use this approach daily. Stay tuned.
Most people think drinking 8 glasses of water a day is the golden rule for good health, but the truth is far more nuanced. You can drink all the water you want, yet if you drink it the wrong way, much of it may simply pass through your body without nourishing a single cell. This is where so many people, especially older adults, go wrong. They hydrate, but they don't absorb. Let's begin with something critical that most people overlook: adding minerals to your water. If you're drinking pure distilled or reverse osmosis, RO water, you may be flushing out vital electrolytes without realizing it. These purified waters are stripped of everything, including the good stuff like magnesium, sodium, potassium, and other trace minerals that help your cells retain water. Without them, water enters and exits your body, quickly leaving you still fatigued, still foggy-headed, still dehydrated on a cellular level. So, what's the fix? Add a small pinch of unrefined mineral salt, like Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, to your morning glass of water. Just a tiny amount, enough to restore the electrolyte balance. These salts contain over 75 essential trace minerals. They help pull water into your cells, support proper muscle and nerve function, and can even reduce common dehydration symptoms like dry skin dizziness or afternoon fatigue, even if you think you've been drinking enough.
Now let's talk about how you space out your water intake. Too many people chug down 500 milliliters or more at once, especially after a long meeting or workout. But drinking a large amount of water in one sitting overwhelms the kidneys. Your body reacts by flushing it out rapidly through urine, and very little actually gets absorbed into tissues. Instead, try drinking small amounts regularly throughout the day. A good rhythm is about 150 to 200 milliliters every hour or two. This gives your body time to process and absorb the hydration, keeping your energy steady, your skin moisturized, and your mind clear. Timing also matters. In the morning after waking up, drink a glass of warm water with a pinch of mineral salt and a few drops of lemon. This combination gently activates digestion, supports kidney filtration, and wakes up your system. About 30 minutes before meals, have another small glass of water. It improves nutrient absorption and prevents overeating. However, avoid drinking too much during meals or right afterward. Doing so dilutes your stomach acids and enzymes, potentially slowing digestion. In the evening before bed, you can sip 1 or 2 small mouthfuls of water if you feel thirsty, but don't drink too much, or you'll disrupt your sleep with nighttime bathroom trips.
And finally, let's clarify how much water you actually need. On average, adults lose about 2 to 2.5 liters of water per day through breathing, sweating, digestion, and urination. Out of that, 5 to 2 liters should come from drinking fluids directly. The rest can come from water-rich foods like cucumbers, melons, leafy greens, and even herbal teas or soups. Here's my takeaway. Don't wait until you're thirsty. By then, your body is already running low. Make hydration a daily ritual, starting with a mineral-enhanced glass in the morning, and continue to nourish your body throughout the day with consistent mindful water intake. Proper hydration isn't just about the quantity of water. It's about quality, timing, and absorption. Get that right, and your whole system, from your brain to your joints to your metabolism, will thank you.
Most people think dehydration just means feeling thirsty or maybe getting a dry mouth. But the reality is far more serious. Chronic cellular dehydration, meaning your cells don't have enough water, can silently contribute to some of the most common and dangerous health issues we face after age 50. You might be sipping water all day and still be dehydrated, where it counts inside your cells. Let's break this down. Dehydration doesn't just mean a lack of water. It means your body doesn't have the water where it's needed, most inside the blood, the organs, the joints, and the tissues. And this triggers a chain reaction. Today, we'll walk through 5 major consequences of chronic dehydration that we've seen again and again in our patients, and they might surprise you.
Let's begin with one that seems counterintuitive: high blood pressure. Most people associate high blood pressure with salt or stress, but they never imagine that dehydration could be the root cause. When your body senses that there's not enough fluid circulating in your bloodstream, it tries to compensate by narrowing the blood vessels to maintain pressure. That's your body's survival mechanism. At the same time, if you're lacking minerals like magnesium and potassium, which help relax blood vessels, the pressure rises even more. Combine that with a high sugar diet and a sedentary lifestyle, and it's a perfect storm for hypertension. Staying properly hydrated with the right balance of minerals is essential for stable blood pressure.
The second consequence affects millions of people, including those with stomach ulcers. The lining of your stomach isn't just tissue. It's protected by a layer of mucus and bicarbonate, which neutralizes the stomach's own acid. But when you're chronically dehydrated, your body has to steal water from less vital areas like the stomach lining to keep the blood volume stable. That protective mucus layer becomes thin. The result, your stomach acid starts to damage the tissue itself. And when your sodium balance is off, you also produce less sodium bicarbonate, which is your natural buffer. So dehydration doesn't just upset your stomach, it could literally lead to painful ulcers.
Next is a big one: the type 2 diabetes. Most people don't realize that your pancreas needs water to function properly. It's not just about food or sugar. Hydration plays a role in hormone production, including insulin and glucagon, which regulate your blood sugar. Without enough water, the pancreas can't produce enzymes that break down food efficiently, or hormones that keep your glucose levels in check. And on top of that, dehydration raises the concentration of glucose in your blood by default, because the less water there is, the more concentrated everything becomes. Over time, this creates a metabolic burden that contributes to insulin resistance.
Now let's talk about something that affects almost every older adult. I see joint pain and arthritis. Your joints are surrounded by synovial fluid, a lubricating liquid that reduces friction and allows smooth movement. But when you're dehydrated, your body once again draws water from the joint spaces to maintain blood pressure and organ function. That leaves the joints dry, stiff, and inflamed. It's like trying to run a machine without oil. The cartilage grinds and inflammation takes over. We've seen patients improve their joint pain significantly just by improving hydration and adding electrolyte-rich water daily.
And finally, something most people overlook: breathing. Your lungs are one of the most water-sensitive organs in your body. Each breath you exhale releases water vapor. In fact, you lose about 400 to 500 milliliters of water a day just by breathing. But here's the danger. When you're dehydrated, the small air sacs in your lungs, called alveoli, don't fully collapse and expand as they should. This makes oxygen exchange less efficient. In severe cases, it can even trigger bronchial constriction, a tightening of the airways similar to what happens in asthma. You may feel short of breath, dizzy, or fatigued, not realizing it's actually a hydration problem.
So let's recap. Chronic dehydration can raise your blood pressure, strip the protective lining of your stomach, impair your blood sugar regulation, damage your joints, and even restrict your breathing. And all of this can happen without you feeling thirsty. That's why thirst is not a reliable signal. By the time you feel thirsty, your cells are already stressed. But what is good news? These issues are reversible when you hydrate the right way. Not just drinking water, but remineralizing it, supporting your electrolytes, timing your hydration, and making water work for you, not just pass through you. This is why we always say that water isn't just a beverage, it's your body's most powerful healing tool, but only if you use it wisely.
Now, if there's one message I hope everyone takes away from today's episode, it's this: the mistake isn't that we're not drinking enough water. It's that we're drinking it the wrong way. We've been told to just drink more and more, but no one talks about the quality of that water, or how our body actually uses it. Drinking plain water without minerals is like watering a plant in dry sand. The water runs right through, and nothing gets absorbed. That's what's happening in millions of bodies every day. We sip, we chug, we carry big water bottles, but we're still tired, lightheaded, or stiff. Why? Because our cells are still thirsty.
In traditional Eastern thinking, water is life, but it must flow into the right places, guided by balance. If your body lacks minerals, especially sodium, magnesium, and potassium, then water can't stay where it's needed most. It's like trying to fill a bucket full of holes. So here's a simple challenge for everyone listening tomorrow morning. Instead of reaching for just coffee or plain water, start your day with a warm glass of water and a tiny pinch of Celtic salt. Let it dissolve on your tongue. Then drink slowly. Feel how your body responds. Is your head clearer? Are your hands and feet warmer? Do you feel more present? This isn't magic, it's biology, it's hydration done right.
Yes, and we'd love to hear from you. What's your current water routine? Do you add minerals, herbal teas, lemon? Share your experience in the comments below, what works, what doesn't, and what you've discovered. And if today's conversation helped you rethink hydration, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Because in the next episode, we're diving deeper into the interesting episode. Until then, stay hydrated, stay wise, and stay well.